overnight. And the big headline is players are staying put. Why not?
One in particular, big name. You know, the OKC Thunder were rated as a movie after last night. They'd be PG-13. More on that and him in just a second. Also happening overnight, our Dave McMenamin reporting that Cleveland Cavaliers GM Kobe Altman spoke to both LeBron James and his agent Rich Paul over the phone shortly after midnight when NBA free agency officially opened. And our Mark Spears reporting New Orleans Pelicans star, all-star free agent center DeMarcus Cousins received calls from the Pellies and the Lakers early this morning, and he is expected to have meetings scheduled with both teams soon. Hannah?
Well, Jay, as you said, Paul George isn't going anywhere, agreeing to a 4-year, $137 million max contract to stay with the Thunder. Committed to re-sign with the team after spending one season there on a deal that features an option in the 4th year, according to Adrian Wojnarowski. George made the announcement at a house party hosted by Russell Westbrook.
If y'all didn't quite get it, let me say it again. I'm here to stay. I'm here to stay.
I would like to have been at that party. That looked like a lot of fun. Adrian Wojnarowski pulled an all-nighter probably, but for different reasons. Not partying, but getting a lot of information. How did this deal get done?
Well, Oklahoma City really, as the year progressed, was playing from ahead. And George became very comfortable with them and believed in the future, believed in the organization. Met with general manager Sam Presti earlier this week, had some questions answered. And then OKC wanted to do that meeting in Oklahoma City. A lot of teams meet out in LA. Agents are centered there. Teams fly out. Players are there. They built this meeting around that party that was organized by the organization. Russell Westbrook flew back in. And the Thunder's goal was to get that commitment from Paul George without him ever getting to sit down with Magic Johnson in LA. And they got it last night.
Yeah, because so many people were assuming that he would be that really easy free agent piece that LA could slide in there to play with LeBron. But they got very creative with this deal, right?
Right. Well, the 4-year deal that he agreed to, $137 million, includes a player option after year 3. So he can opt out of the deal after year 3 and then redo the deal on another 5 years. So 4 years, $137 million becomes 7 years, $284 million plus if he does another 5-year max deal then. And so it gives them some security here in the short term and then the chance to really cash in long term. That's part of the new collective bargaining agreement. And it's meant to try to keep players where they are, and that's a help for a smaller market like Oklahoma City when they're competing against an LA or New York or Chicago.
Well, sure, and one that had already seen James Harden walk and Kevin Durant walk. So this is a big win for them. They have 11 players locked up, which makes you wonder what else there is to do in OKC. So for more, let's go to Bobby and Jay.
All right, Hannah. Bobby Marks here to give us a front office perspective on all this. Looked like Paul George is using OKC as like just a 1-year stopgap to go to LA, but that's not going to happen. What were your first thoughts when you heard he was staying?
I was surprised. I was surprised based on where we were a year ago with the trade that occurred to getting to Oklahoma City, the intention of going to Los Angeles. It is almost like that David versus Goliath, that small market Oklahoma City versus that big market in Los Angeles. And I give Sam Presti, their general manager, a lot of credit because they were able to in-house recruit him for a year. And it worked out. The other thing I was real surprised at, the Lakers never got a chance to get a seat at the table and never got to meet with Paul George there. All
right, OKC was a 4th seed in the playoffs, out in the first round the first year with Russ, Melo, and PG-13. What's the team's ceiling headed into year 2 with this trio?
Well, it's expensive. We talked about it last night. It's going to be close to $300 million with salary and luxury tax. You are restricted with your minimum exception. The likelihood is what you want to build on is continuity. Bring this group back. We forget about Andre Roberson, who hurt his knee in that Detroit game, who is kind of that X factor. If we can get Roberson back healthy, this team is a top 4 team in the West, but this is who you are for the next 3 or 4 years right now.
Okay, Bobby's going to be back a little later to get how all this impacts LeBron's decision. That's a little later this hour. Thank you, my friend. Hannah?
All right, Jay, so look at other free agency news. Kevin Durant will reportedly sign a 1-and-1 deal to stay with the Warriors. Bobby says that it's for $30 million in year one, a player option of $31.5 million for the second year. Chris Paul confirming in a tweet he's going to stay in H-Town, as reported by Adrian. It's going to be to the tune of 4 years, $160 million. He'll make $44 million in the final year of the deal at age 36. DeAndre Jordan reportedly agreeing to a one-year deal with $24.1 with the Mavs. You remember he spurned the Mavs after agreeing to a deal a few years ago and signed with the Clippers. Now he is in Dallas. And the Nuggets opened their wallets for big man Nikola Jokic, agreeing to a 5-year, $148 million max deal. He's become the face of the franchise, first player in team history to receive a $100 million contract, Jay.
And the player not on that list of overnight signings, LeBron James. Dave McMenamin with us now on SportsCenter. Dave, you tweeted that LeBron had a discussion with Kobe Altman at 12:01 a.m. Eastern. What is the significance of this conversation?
Well, one, I think there's some significance that it was LeBron and Rich Paul, not just Rich Paul taking the call with Cavs management on LeBron, his client's behalf. And I think it just shows that there is a degree of professionalism still existing between these two sides. I know there were some reports coming out throughout the week that LeBron had gone radio silent on the Cavs. But, you know, what he had done really is operate under free agency the same way he'd done it in the past. And there was a constant dialogue between Rich Paul and the Cavs. So this is just an extension of that. I wish I could tell you the contents of that conversation. I don't have that for you. Nor do I have information whether there was other calls that those two made with other teams around the league. But what we do know is that there at least was one box checked off by that call, and that is that the Cavs are still theoretically in this thing as we go day by day in free agency.
Any inkling that they may chat again soon?
If I get it, Jay, I'm going to call you up. We're going to do a special hit right with that information on the minute, but not yet. Not yet. Working on it.
I appreciate that, Dave McMenamin. Thank you, brother. Hannah?
Yeah, everybody needs those T-shirts. Don't ask me. I don't know where he's going. All right. So, Woj, what do you make of this early morning conversation between the Cavs and LeBron?
Yeah, I mean, that's procedural. You know, at midnight, you're going to call. We still want you. And you know, it's listen, there's a lot of history there, and I think there's mutual respect. And as Dave said, his agent, Rich Paul's been in contact with Cleveland. He's got other clients on the team. But LeBron James has not interacted with the front office. He has not talked with them about possible trade scenarios, free agent scenarios that the team would have liked to work with him on. And it's created a sort of paralysis around the Cavs because they don't want to give up on LeBron James, but they have to be realistic about where they stand and try to figure out what their future is going to be before he makes a decision.
Meanwhile, we all saw the video of his plane landing in L.A. Of course, he has a couple of houses there, as a thriving production business. I mean, it makes sense that he might return there after vacation. But people are treating the Lakers as a foregone conclusion, and also with the conventional wisdom that they have to bring in another face, somebody to play with him side by side to make them contenders. So where do things stand after the events overnight with the Lakers?
Well, the Lakers are certainly a factor, and they're very much in this. But don't rule out Philadelphia yet. Philadelphia is still working to try to get a meeting with LeBron James, with his representatives. You know, they have a lot to offer. They have a max slot they can slide him right into. They don't have to do anything with their salary cap. And, you know, to partner with Joel Embiid.
They have a lot of pieces in place there already
and
in
obviously
Philly.
Ben Simmons. They have two young stars, two young superstars that they can go forward with for a very long time. As LeBron James advances into his mid-30s, late 30s, you've got two guys who will be all-stars and maybe MVP candidates over time, and some role players there that this team would be ready-made with him to compete with Boston in the East. The Sixers are still in this.
Is that the kind of organization, top to bottom, that you can see him fitting into?
LeBron has gone to very different kinds of organizations. He went to Miami with Pat Riley, Eric Spoelstra. He wanted that Heat culture. He came back to Cleveland when there was more uncertainty. He didn't know David Blatt. You know, L.A., it's magic, but it's not an experienced front office group that's had a track record of success. And in Philly right now, they don't have a general manager. Brett Brown, the coach, is the interim president of basketball operations. LeBron, in a lot of ways, makes the organization.
Very, very interesting. Wow. I like it that you're throwing Philly in there because everyone is treating Los Angeles like a foregone conclusion. But again, maybe they don't have the pieces. If he wants a ring, if he wants a contender, it makes more sense.
There are no foregone conclusions in free agency. There's just someone signing the contract. That's when it is.
I like that. That's the line of the day. There are no foregone conclusions in free agency. And that's Woj.
Thanks, Anna.
Shot at LeBron. And then there's the sexy choice, Philly. A team more than any other in this pod that has the centerpieces to both meet the current championship demand that LeBron has and keep him winning chips until he's 40. San Antonio is the most intriguing team of any LeBron could choose. Greg Popovich could be the Phil Jackson he never had. Now what about those Lakers? With room for 2 max deals. LA, not only a prime destination for LeBron, but also in prime position to hand him the keys. And finally, Cleveland, the justifiers in this race for the king. If Dan Gilbert has a plan that he can sell to LeBron that has them beating the Warriors next year, LeBron stays. It's as simple as that.
All right, Scoop Jackson, thank you. Front Office Insider Bobby Marks back with us. All right, Bobby, even with the Paul George headlines, it always comes back to LeBron. What could PG-13 staying put in OKC mean for LeBron's decision?
Well, it has a huge impact because if I'm LeBron James now and I'm meeting with Los Angeles, who is coming with me? Right. No Paul George, no Chris Paul, and Kawhi Leonard talks are in limbo right now. And do I want to walk into that situation with 4 or 5 young players? So it has a huge impact. And I think for Magic Johnson, he has to sell what the future is going to be and close the deal. That's why Magic was brought on.
All right, that's the sell. Let's go back east for a second because Woj mentioned the possibility of Philly. How possible is that?
Well, I thought all along Philadelphia was the best place for LeBron James based on the core is already intact with Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, Dario Saric. They don't have to do anything as far as LeBron can just walk in there with cap space. And I think it's important that the message from Philadelphia is that we're going to be built for the long haul. We've already made it to the second round and won 52 games. We're not looking to just get into the playoffs. We're looking to advance. And I think that's the best out of the 3 teams. That's the best situation for LeBron.
We will see what happens. All right. Thank you, Bobby.
You're welcome.